made back my investment.
Amazing.
This is really amazing stuff, and it's $1,000 in profit for 3 to 4K in revenue.
How's it going, man?
Oh, good. How are you doing?
Doing great. So the first thing, tell us about yourself. Like, what's your story? What did you do before Etsy? Your name, of course.
So I'm Edoardo, and actually, I started Etsy during my master's degree, about last year. I'm a mechanical engineer by trade. I was studying in London at the time, and I was just looking to kind of start a side hustle online. And so, yeah, I started with Etsy and I opened my first store. And yeah, it all started from there.
Cool, cool. And like, what were the first steps you took when starting your Etsy store?
So actually, the first steps that I took, um, it's funny because I started with digital prints, right? I'm an artist. Something I didn't mention is I'm also an artist by trade. I've done quite a few paintings and commissions and stuff like that. So I thought, me being very naive, I thought I could just put my art on Etsy. And so I uploaded my first listing, and I thought, I'll be getting my first sale in, a few minutes. But actually that wasn't the case, because Etsy is, you kind of need to understand how the platform works. So I put in maybe like 6 or 7 listings, and of course they weren't even optimized with keywords and anything. Like I wasn't really didn't know really what I'm doing. But I asked my friends to buy a few of my artworks, right? So they were like $3 each, and I just asked my friends, like, please, could you buy an artwork and leave a review? So yeah, I mean, that's kind of how it started. Then obviously I started researching how to, find products that are actually in demand. And I started designing things that people actually wanted, I guess.
Cool, cool. And on that note, how would you describe your product research? Like the steps to find the right niche?
I mean, it was still kind of, um, yeah, I was still kind of, it's been very recently actually that I'm learning to do it the correct way and actually like research a trend and spy a bit on competitors and see how much a competitor is selling and basically gauge it based on that. Before I was just kind of doing my own thing, and because, I think because my art was good, I was kind of carving in my niche a little bit, right? And what I was doing is and what I still kind of do to this day, now I've expanded more, is I would create art basically after I joined. um I did the program, right, which is the course, that the online course, AI commerce, which it's a good course. And there is actually, if you're a beginner and you don't know how to use Midjourney, it's actually great because it teaches you all the basics. And actually, myself, who I already knew kind of how to do it, um, I learned quite a few things. But Musa, who is basically the success manager, he is probably the most valuable person, right, to have on this program. And if it weren't for this specific aspect, right, this is kind of the best thing about your program, I would say, is the fact that you can call with Musa, you become friends with him, and it's kind of just like you see how he operates and how he runs his business, how he does his product research, and it's really eye-opening, um, you know, to see how he operates. And actually, um, a nice thing is that he literally told me, um, to we were researching some trends together, and he was like, "Go do this trend, right?" And and I didn't think much of it. I put a random T-shirt on one of my stores, and actually that t-shirt ended up being a winner. So I've already kind of made back my investment from the course, which is great, right? Like this is
Amazing.
yeah, this is really amazing stuff. And I bought it like 2 months ago, so I've already made my money back. Um, but yeah, I mean the one key thing I learned is that with this is a business, right? And like any business, you actually need to work on it. And just because there's Musa there doesn't mean like the work will get done for you. I think that's kind of the key thing to understand here. But of course, having that support and having that guidance is very, very useful.
Love that. So now let's talk numbers. So in terms of listings, how many listings did you test? And then when you found that winner, what was your biggest month with that winner?
So as I said, I've only kind of been in the program for 2 months, I think now. And I have a full-time job as well, so I'm not really able to do that many listings. But let's say maybe I tested 10, 20 products, 10, 20 listings. And then that one winner alone, I think made me like over $1,000 in profit. So around 3 to 4K in revenue, and around like over 1,000 in profit. So yeah, it's really just about finding those winners, finding those evergreen niches, and yeah, it's just literally it. Just put more listings, and yeah.
And how did you then scale?
So I'm still kind of in the process of doing that.
Okay.
Literally, I mean, so right now I'm making decent money, right? But still not really where I want to be, right? And I mean, yeah, that's kind of what we're working on with Musa, is to scale the stores. I have 2 stores right now. And yeah, it's literally all about putting I think the most important thing is the product research and kind of looking at competitors. And another great thing about the program is that you get you know, access to Everbee and E rank and all of these things that are kind of paid for by the course, which is really amazing. That's another big plus. And so, yeah, I mean, I think the key to scaling on Etsy is literally more listings and being consistent with it, consistently uploading. And then literally when you find um those winners, like if they're evergreen products, they'll keep on selling and they'll just sell passively. And if they're not evergreen products, then it's you just kind of go based on the trend. So there's trends. That's kind of what I've learned, is that you go based on the trend, and there's trends that come up literally every few weeks, and you just kind of prepare for that. Like you prepare for Christmas or for whatever, St. Patrick's Day, Mother's Day, or also, for example, if there is different events happening, like for example in the US, you guys have the elections this year, and just stuff like this, right? This is kind of what I wasn't doing before. And just by doing this a bit, yeah, I feel like, yeah, I'm making a lot more money. So
Great.
yeah.
And what's your plans for the future in terms of revenue? What do you want to hit next?
Um, Definitely 10K per month. I mean, that's kind of like the standard. Uh, I mean, it's kind of like the beginner goal in e-commerce, but 10K per month, and with 2 stores, and I think that's definitely achievable, especially because right now it's not even like it's kind of the quiet season. I mean, people are still making sales, of course, but so yeah, I mean, yeah, with so I guess in terms of revenue, it'd be like 30 to 40K months. or 50K in revenue, because then obviously like your profit margin is around 35%, 30%. So yeah.
Cool,
It
cool.
depends on, it depends really on what you do. So of course, if you do digital products, then you get to keep a big chunk of that. So, but if you do print on demand, and there's pros and cons to both, I guess.
Yeah, for sure. It's always good to have a mix, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Cool. So now last question, what do you suggest like advice for anybody on the edge to start an Etsy store or maybe just on the edge for the program?
Um, yeah, I think advice is, it's definitely like, it's probably the best business model to start as a beginner, because literally it's kind of just like uploading a TikTok or on Instagram or whatever, right? Like it, the platform Etsy itself, it kind of works like a social media itself. You kind of finding a winner is basically like a post going viral. That's kind of how I see it. And but the advice that I have for people starting out is treat it like an actual business. Put in the hours every day, like 2 hours, 3 hours every day, whatever kind of you have time for, and just be ready to put in the work, and just trust the process, because that's like, for me personally, because I didn't have the support at the start. I did like a year by myself, or and I bought another membership, but it was really bad. So it took me it took me like a year to even start. But yeah, I mean, if you're on the fence about joining the program, I think that the support really offered by Musa and the team is great. So yeah, you'll definitely have a bigger head start compared to somebody that's just in the dark.
Amazing, Eduardo. Thank you again.
Yep, of course.